No?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry.
Amina? Okay, sorry. I just wanted to make sure you could hear everything. All right. Well, we're joined by Austin Dillon now. We'll get right into questions for Austin. So as a reminder, if you have one, raise the hand or you can send me a chat and we will kick things off with Mark Garrett with PRN. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Austin. Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah.
How do you look? You've had success at Daytona. You've won the 500. You've had other successes as well on the plate tracks. How do you negotiate staying alive in these races and staying out of the wrecks to be there at the end?
It's tough, the game of, putting yourself in a really good position. I call it high speed chess, just because, at some point in time, you're going to be vulnerable and you hope that someone doesn't take advantage of that too much and cause a big wreck. It's one of those things where you're constantly moving and trying to guess the flow of the pack. And I think the best place to be is in the front most of the time, but it's impossible now the way we race to keep yourself up there for the entire race. You see guys do it for long periods of time. Denny Hamlin's been really amazing at putting himself in the right position as of late. So I'm going to do my best this time around to put ourselves in another shot to win a Daytona 500.
Do you get a sense of feeling that you feel it coming, or does it happen so fast you're just in it? Or do sometimes you get the radar, the hair up on the back of your neck going like, I'm trapped here, I got to get out of here and I got no place to go?
Yeah, sometimes you're just in it, nothing you can do about it. Because you know that time's running out and you're in it either way and you have to be. It's an odd feeling knowing that you're putting yourself out there because something's about to happen, and that timing issue, you're hoping that you just get through it. And I've been fortunate to sneak through some of them or be in front of some of them. But man, you usually know when the intensity is rising and the pack is starting to get a little bit out of control, and you're trying to do your best to put yourself or give yourself an out or be in front of it.
And my final quick question is, man, you're a big sports fan of different stuff. Your prediction of what's going to happen in the Super Bowl this weekend and who's going to win?
This is a tough game here. So many electric athletes on the Chiefs side of things. Obviously, they're favored by 3 right now, but Tom Brady's the GOAT, and he's had a magical playoff run. The experience is there, so I've talked a lot and haven't chosen a team. My gut says Kansas City. I just don't see how they can be beat. But Tom Brady is the GOAT, so I'm pulling for Tom Brady. I'm pulling for Tom Brady.
All right, man. Thanks. Have a good week.
Yep. Thanks.
All right, we're going to take our next question from Jacob Seelman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Thanks, Austin. Thank you for taking some time this afternoon. The 20 seems to be an interesting tie in the way this has all worked out the last couple of years. You won your Daytona 500 20 years after Dale Sr. Obviously, this year a bit of a different 20-year anniversary for the car, for the company, for you. But what would it mean to kind of take some of that sting away and perhaps celebrate with a second Daytona 500 victory?
Well, I think it'd be amazing and huge for the company and RCR and all the 3 fans out there. And, the numbers have a lot to do with the history of Daytona and the prestige of this place. So if there is anything that goes along with that, I would love to go back to Victory Lane in Daytona and do it again.
What have been your emotions, obviously, knowing the anniversary leading up to this? Has it been something that has been on your mind very much, or do you put that out of your mind going into this next week?
Well, you definitely know, the anniversary, and people bring it up often in interviews. But I just remember that time being a kid and seeing some of the people that I looked up to as kids being vulnerable at that time. My grandfather, seeing tears in his eyes, and my mother, and not really knowing what was going on, other than that we lost a hero of our sport. And so many people have been affected by that, and going to the museum as a kid and just seeing the flowers lined up and all the different homages to Dale over the years. So it's one of those things that, you know, you'll never forget because a hero of our sport passed away. But you know, hopefully we've done a good job as a sport and as a whole of you know, carrying on his legacy. And you know, fans today always are still wearing his gear and rocking it for Dale.
Thanks, Austin. Best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our next question from Matt Weaver. Go ahead, Matt.
Greetings from Volusia, Austin. What's happening?
Oh, how's it going, man? Racing down there a lot?
Yeah, they're starting the sprint cars, so should be a good time. My question for you, man, is about Max Pappas, kind of off the beaten path a little bit. Your family has worked with Max for a long time, and Max was very instrumental in shaping you as a driver. So what was that experience like working with Max, and why did your dad and grandpa decide that the Max was the guy?
Well, I mean, once you get a piece of Max, he's not going anywhere. He's one of those guys that's just he grinds away, and obviously you can see from his success as a business owner and guy what he's been able to create is amazing. He's taken his talents that he had on the track. You know, his talents on the track was to give everything he had every race. You know, he always put in the effort no matter what the outcome. The effort was there, and I think that's what my grandfather and dad saw in him, is the effort and the extra mile that he took on the track. And like I said, he takes it in his business as well, and he's just a good friend and good person to be around. I've had some great memories with Max, and you know, I haven't talked to him. I got to give him a call about the 24-hour race because I had a blast, absolute blast in it. He had messaged me a little bit before it, so I got to give him an update.
And I assume you still use MPI wheels?
Yes.
Yeah. What is special about the ingenuity or the craftsmanship or whatever it is that goes into MPI wheels that make them so valuable?
Well, I mean, it comes from someone that has driven race cars his entire life, and put his life into the sport, and knows the safety of it, and then what it takes to have a really good steering wheel. And he's just built an excellent company that when you come through Mooresville or any kind of race car, you see that the MPI logo inside the car. So he's done a good job and built something I really enjoy, and he's not afraid to customize and change with the times too.
10-4. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
All right, we'll take our next one from Dustin Albino. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, Austin, obviously RCR's had a lot of alliances in the past, but this year Trackhouse is with the team. So I'm curious, how do you anticipate Trackhouse will elevate RCR and likewise with you guys?
Well, anytime you can get more people, more smart minds in the shop, and then the Daniel's experience from other teams, Stuart Haas, Gibbs, and then Eric right up the street at with Petty. You know, just hearing how things worked where they've been, I think is going to be big for us. You know, I've only raced at RCR, so I haven't really had many outside people come into RCR and be able to give us the insight that they can give us. So it's going to be fun to listen to them and how that they've done things in the past and how we do things and how they mesh and how we can kind of take some of the things that they've done in the past that worked and try and gain on them and make them better. So yeah, it's going to be awesome having Team Trackhouse in the shop, and Justin Marks is a breath of fresh air. He's been in the shop a lot, and just talking to him, and they're really excited, and it's cool for our sport to have Pitbull. The Pitbull MJ battle is going to be awesome this year, I think. And obviously I'll be pulling for Pitbull because he's in our shop.
Thanks, Austin.
All right, we're going to take our next question from Chris Estrada. Go ahead, Chris.
Austin, thank you for joining us. I just have two quick questions. Over the offseason, you've gotten to get some laps at Circuit of the Americas in the Camaro, and obviously you just come off the Rolex 24. So as opposed to, say, a couple months ago, how have these quote bonus laps built more confidence for you as far as your road racing skills going into speed weeks?
Well, I think they definitely have. You know, I mean, just from the short time I've jumped in the simulator and gotten in and out of other cars, I think that I've been able to pick up speed a bit quicker, and still, wanting to do more and more racing, road course racing. I've got millions of laps in a dirt car and millions of laps in oval cars, but not in road course races. So that comfortability of being around other cars is getting better. I think my confidence is higher, and can't wait to race Tuesday night with the Clash. That'll be a fun one. Another kind of test session to get ready for our first race outside of the 500. We're kind of taking it as a test session and really focused on, being aggressive with adjustments on the car and how I drive in that race. So it's going to be fun.
And that kind of leads into my follow-up question. Having now kind of gotten into the Daytona road course and the Rolex, what jumped out to you about that track that you're keeping in mind for the Clash and also race number 2 of the season?
Well, it's not so much a technical track like some of the tracks that we go to that are road courses. Pretty self-explanatory. I like the fact that the tires seem to wear quite a bit at the track, and I haven't got to run the new chicane coming off turn 4, so I got to make sure I try to stop when I get over there this time around from the 24 to this race. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think the experience I got in the 24 was great, and we'll see how it all plays out in the end after we get done racing after the 500.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our next one from Jesse Morrison. Go ahead, Jesse.
Hey, Austin, I got a couple questions. First off, just, does this year feel a little bit different for you, in the 3-car, since it's the 20th anniversary of Dale's passing? And then just do you remember what do you remember about him, like growing up watching him and just his legacy?
Yeah, I kind of answered this question earlier about being, I was a kid when all that happened, and seeing some of my heroes, like my grandfather, and then guys in the shop come over to my house after everything went down in 2001, and seeing tears in people's eyes that you've never seen, and just knowing the history and the legacy that Dale left behind, and people loved and adored him, and the fans that came through the museum at the shop when I was a kid, just seeing that kind of all go through that. But what I remember as a kid was kind of fun, because whenever I was around Dale, he was kind of jokingly, it was at the racetrack messing with me as a kid, and I got to do a commercial with Dale, Jeff Gordon, and Taylor as a kid, which was really cool. And I got to use Dale's. It was like an action diecast commercial, and Taylor and I were arguing over who was going to use Dale's car in the commercial, and Dale settled it real quick and said I was going to use it, and Taylor was going to take Jeff's car. And it's just cool that he was a leader at everything, that everybody kind of looked to him as a leader, and those are just fun memories as a kid being around him, someone that was larger than life. And now getting to carry the legacy of the number out on the track and add to it, I think that's very special, and can't wait to see what this 500 brings.
I got one more. Just what do you, the safety advancements are obviously have been huge since his passing. Just how proud are you of NASCAR for, advancing the safety of the cars?
Well, NASCAR does a great job of being fluid and adjusting to any kind of wreck that has gone too far. From Newman's wreck last year, you saw the addition of the bars that have been added. From my wreck of tearing down the fence, the steel that went around the foot box. And, I think NASCAR's done a really good job of going with the future and, trying to do the best to advance our sport, to make it safer for all the drivers and fans and crewmen. So crewmen and women out there. So I think, it's huge that, NASCAR's done a good job of looking into any kind of wreck that we've had and adjusting and being able to adjust and not be stale and just trust in what the product that they have. So when the future comes, technology comes, and we can always advance. And I think NASCAR is on the leading edge of that when it comes to safety.
All right, we'll take our next question from Cole Cusimano. Go ahead, Cole.
Thanks, Marissa. Hey, Austin. Stepping away from racing for a second, you had a cameo on the upcoming Netflix sitcom The Crew. What was that experience like, and how was it working with Kevin James?
It was really cool. All the actors that were there, Blaney and I had a good time. This was pre-COVID, so we got to get good time. That was when Blaney had the huge stash, and I think they actually made a stash for him, which was really funny because he had just shaved it, but he had to have it. I don't know, something. It was funny. He had a stash, and we joked with him about that, and just the different lines that we got to run through. The time that we had there, it was a blast to see how it worked, and Kevin was awesome to work with.
And just to follow up, Ryan Blaney actually also mentioned that RCR played a large hand in providing input and resources for the show. Were you a part of that process, and can you provide any details about what that may have been?
Yeah, I think they were sent some like pit box and different materials for the backgrounds of the show, and just stuff that they needed to show the likenesses off and make it more like a garage.
Thank you. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our next one from Zach Sterniolo. Go ahead, Zach.
Austin, there's a lot to look forward to in NASCAR this season. It seems like it's kind of a new era, and part of that is is Jimmy Johnson's retirement. Is there obviously one driver doesn't make the sport, but what if anything changes without his presence on the racetrack, knowing what he had done for the sport as there's so much change afoot this year?
Jimmy's a 7-time champion, and anytime you lose a 7-time champion, I feel like it's a different era, like you said. And, I think there's a lot of shoes to fill in NASCAR, and a lot of young drivers that are coming in and guys that fans can attach to. And it's a good time to be in our sport. I think MJ and Pitbull coming into the sport's another part of it that adds to the mix. And, I think the biggest part of what's going on in our sport, the change and showing people how awesome our friendly family sport is. And it's a good time to pick up a driver and support them and become a part of NASCAR.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our next question from Kyle Foster. Go ahead, Kyle.
Hi, Austin. So obviously you raced the Rolex 24. You got plenty of road courses on the schedule. I'm out here in Northern California looking ahead to Sonoma. You didn't race there last year. Are you excited to get back? And what are your thoughts on a one-day show?
Yeah, Sonoma's a fun road course. It's one of the road courses that, I enjoy because of the slickness of it. And they changed the track just a year or so ago when we went there, adding the, I guess it's the IndyCar portion of it. It's a little bit different. But yeah, I'm always excited to get out there, and it's a beautiful, beautiful area. One day show is going to be interesting, obviously, with travel and stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to Sonoma as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, our next question will come from Jake Nickel. Go ahead, Jake.
Thank you. Austin, just turning to the new schedule for this year, what do you think will be the most difficult new track to get adjusted to? And how important is it to freshen up the calendar?
I think it's always good for our sport to change races, change venues, try new things. I think it's great to have a fresh schedule, like you said. And most challenging track, probably for the teams, it's I'd guess Coda, because there's so much that road course has to offer. I feel like it has multiple road courses in one. It's one of the biggest tracks we've ever gone to. So Coda, and then probably another road course. Teams have some experience at Road America from the Xfinity Series, so probably not that one as much, but there's different challenges that all these new tracks provide. Yeah, I would say Coda is probably going to be the most challenging for teams and anyone that doesn't have the experience there.
Cool. And any thoughts about the Bristol dirt race? How do you think that's gonna pan out?
Actually, yeah, I didn't say Bristol because I'm looking forward to Bristol and being a dirt race, but I think it's going to be challenging for the teams and a bunch of the drivers. It'll be different for sure, and trying to keep your cars together on the dirt, and some people that are very comfortable at other tracks are not going to be as comfortable at Bristol.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we'll take our next one from Marty Zakala. Go ahead, Marty.
Thank you very much there, Marissa. Austin, you had a great end of the year last year, tied your highest spot in points, 11th, had the win at Texas and those strong showings at Darlington and Richmond. How much of that momentum from the postseason transitions over to the regular season this year?
I think, we got a good amount. We kept most of our team together on the 3 car, and I think that's big. Over the last couple of years, I've definitely, had people swapping around, changing, and it's good to have some continuity in the team and have my crew chief, spotter, everybody ready to go. And, Chevrolet's done a good job in the off season of really pushing the togetherness and working hard together. And I think that's the biggest thing, is giving us more opportunities to win than we've had in the past to kind of progress. But yeah, the momentum from last year was huge, and I definitely want to carry that over.
Thanks for your time, man. Have a great Speed Weeks.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our next one from Ashley McCubbin. Go ahead, Ashley.
Austin, in expanding about your appearance on the show, The Crew, there was a lot of people that were critical of the show when they saw the trailer and feeling that it's mocking the sport a bit. Your reaction to that?
Have you watched Talladega Nights? I think that any kind of show about NASCAR should be wanted, even if it's mocking, whatever, because it's any publicity is good publicity. It's gonna get people to check into our sport and check it out. And but I think you gotta have fun during life. You can't not enjoy it. I think Kevin James and everybody's been really respectful. I mean, I haven't got to see the show. I haven't got to even see the full one of I'm in. I just saw my part, but I got made fun of, and I thought that was great. I thought it was part of, what it is. It's a funny show, and they chose NASCAR, and I'm thankful they chose NASCAR and chose our sport, because I think fans will want to join into the drama that our sport is, because our sport has a lot of drama on and off the track once you start looking into it.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, we'll take our next one from Eric Smith. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, thank you. Austin, this is hard to believe, your 9th Speed Weeks from the Cup Series, and this will be your 3rd, though, coming back as a Daytona 500 champion. Does it feel any different going back to Daytona these last 3 years, knowing that you've won it before, and is it the desire burn deeper to want to do it again?
Oh, for sure. That feeling of driving to victory lane and hoisting the Harley J. Earl, there's nothing like it. It's a memory I'll never forget. And man, I can't wait to that's just, for me, every time you get to jump in a car for the 500, you got to be thankful, because it's history. It's a prestigious event, and it's my favorite event of the year. It's my favorite Sunday when I wake up that morning of the Daytona 500. There's nothing like it.
And with all these new owners obviously coming to the sport, have there been any talks of would you want to continue the family business on eventually one day when you're done? Have you talked to your grandpa about it? Is that even anything you've even aspired to want to do when you're done driving?
Yeah, for sure. I've mentioned it to him, and I think that's definitely something I want to be a part of. I love the sport, and I've given a lot to it, and want to continue to, just like him. He's my hero, and we'll see what the future holds. But right now, I'm focused on driving and want to win some trophies for RCR before I move like that.
Thanks, Austin. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, our next one will come from Anton with ASN Media. Go ahead, Anton.
Thanks, Marissa. Good afternoon, Austin. Last year, you won the race at Texas, and you had an incredibly great run in the playoffs. Do you think you will be capable of repeating or even beating that result in 2021?
Yeah, that's what we've worked for this offseason is to go further than we did last year. I felt like, other than the one hiccup we had at Vegas with the belt, I thought we would have went to the next round. I think we had a pretty solid round other than breaking at Vegas. So, man, we'll be pushing hard. I think multiple wins this year is key to that success, to go further than we did this year. One win is nice, but I think you see the guys that are in the Final Four, they have multiple wins. So I think that's our first goal, is to get multiple wins and see what happens from there. And that's a successful season in my book, when you can get multiple wins in the NASCAR Cup Series.
Thanks. Wishing you all the best for this season.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take one last question from Tucker White. Go ahead, Tucker.
All right, Austin, as we've seen over the last few seasons, particularly with last season, the driver who performs the best over the course of the season doesn't necessarily make the championship round of the playoffs or even win the championship. And given how luck heavy it is now to make the championship race or even win the title, how exactly are the playoffs a good method of deciding a champion, especially when leagues like IndyCar and Formula One decide their champion via season-long format?
Well, it's a tough way to win a championship. I'd say it's probably the toughest motorsports championship to win. Ours is, and I think we provide the beginning of the playoffs. We give the number one point standings a trophy, and then it goes into our playoff format like other sports. I mean, if you want to compare NASCAR to other sports, NFL, basketball, that playoff system, it's not necessarily the team that's the hottest throughout the regular season. It's the team that gets hot when it matters. Last year it was Chase Elliott. It's sports in general. I think NASCAR gave our sport a playoff format. Some motorsports enthusiasts might not like our playoff, how it works in the point system, but we are a sport now that has a playoff system, and that playoff system is meant to give the team that shows up when it matters the championship, like Chase did last year. I mean, you've seen sports in general from all different seasons, and guys that barely make it into the playoffs go to the finals and win, and that's the great thing about sports. You see underdogs make it happen.
All right, thank you.
All right. Sorry about that. Sounds like a truck is landing in my house right now. That's all we've got for you. So thank you so much, and we will see you at Daytona Speed Weeks.
All right. Thank you, guys.